Definition of animal cell. An animal cell is a eukaryotic cell that lacks a cell wall, and it is enclosed by the plasma membrane. The cell organelles are enclosed by the plasma membrane, including the cell nucleus. Unlike the animal cell lacking the cell wall, plant cells have a cell wall. Animals are a large group of diverse living organisms that make up 3/4 of all species on Earth. With their ability to move, respond to stimuli, respond to environmental changes, and adapt to different modes of feeding, defense mechanisms, and reproduction, all these mechanisms are enhanced by their constituent elements in the body. However, animals cannot manufacture their own food like plants, and hence they depend on plants in one way or another. All living things are made up of cells that make up their body structure. Some of these living things are single-celled, unicellular, and other organisms are made up of more than one cell, multicellular. A cell is the smallest, microscopic, structural functional unit of life of an organism. The cells that constitute an animal are called animal cells, and those that constitute plants are known as plant cells. Most cells are covered by a protective membrane known as the cell wall, which gives the cells their shape and rigidity. Since animal cells lack a rigid cell wall, it allows them to develop a great diversity of cell types, tissues, and organs. The nerves and muscles are made up of specialized cells that plant cells cannot evolve to form, hence giving these nerve and muscle cells have the ability to move. Animal cell size and shape. Animal cells come in all kinds of shapes and sizes, with their size ranging from a few millimeters to micrometers. The largest animal cell is the ostrich egg, which has a 5-inch diameter, weighing about 1.2 to 1.4 kilograms, and the smallest animal cells are neurons of about 100 microns in diameter. Animal cells are smaller than the plant cells, and they are generally irregular in shape, taking various forms of shapes, due to lack of the cell wall. Some cells are round, oval, flattened or rod-shaped, spherical, concave, rectangular. This is due to the lack of a cell wall. Note: most of the cells are microscopic, hence they can only be seen under a microscope in order to study their anatomy. But animal cells share other cellular organelles with plant cells, as both have evolved from eukaryotic cells. As noted earlier, animal cells are eukaryotic cells with a membrane-bound nucleus. Therefore they have their genetic material in the form of DNA enclosed in the nucleus. They also have several structural organelles within the plasma membrane which perform various specific functions for proper cell function and generally to maintain the body normal. Mechanisms. List of animal cell organelles. Plasma membrane, cell membrane, nucleus, cytoplasm, mitochondria, ribosomes, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, Golgi bodies, Golgi complex, lysosomes, cytoskeleton, microtubules, centrioles, peroxisomes, cilia and flagella, endosome, vacuoles, microvilli. The animal cell is made up of several structural organelles enclosed in the plasma membrane that enable it to function properly, eliciting mechanisms that benefit the host animal. The working together of all cells gives an animal its ability to move, to reproduce, to respond to stimuli, to digest and absorb food, etc. Generally, the combined effort by all animal cells is what enables the normal functioning of the body. Animal cell organelles. The major cell organelles include plasma membrane, cell membrane. Definition of plasma membrane. Cell membrane. It is a thin semi-permeable protein membrane layer that surrounds an animal cell. Structure of plasma membrane. Cell membrane, thin semi-permeable membrane. It contains a percentage of lipids, making a semi-permeable barrier between the cell and its physical environment. It has some protein components that it is very consistent around the cell. All living cells have a plasma membrane. Functions of plasma membrane: cell membrane, to enclose and protect the cell content, to also regulate the molecules that pass into and out of the cell, through the plasma membrane. Therefore it controls homeostasis. The proteins are actively involved in transporting materials across the membrane. The proteins and lipids allow cell communication, and carbohydrates, sugars and sugar chains, which decorate both the proteins and lipids and help cells recognize each other. Nucleus. Definition of nucleus: this is a spherical structured organelle found majorly at the center of a cell, surrounded by a double-layered nuclear membrane separating it from the cytoplasm. It is held together to the cytoplasm with the help of the filaments and microtubules. It holds other cells' organelles, including the nucleolus, nucleosomes, and chromatins. A cell has one nucleus which divides, producing multinucleated cells, e.g. the skeletal muscle cell fibers. Some cells lose their nuclei after maturations, e.g. the red blood cells. Structure of nucleus: the double-layered membrane is a continuous channel of membranous from the endoplasmic reticulum network. The membrane has pores which allow entry of large molecule nucleoli. Singular nucleolus are tiny, small bodies found in the nucleus. The nucleus and its component organelles are suspended in the nucleoplasm, house of the chromosomal DNA and genetic materials. Functions of nucleus: the primary role of the nucleus is to control and regulate cell activities of growth and maintain cell metabolisms. It also carries the genes that have hereditary information of the cell. The chromosomal DNA and genetic materials, which are made up of genetic coded, ultimately make up their protein's amino acid sequences for use by the cell. Therefore, the nucleus is the information center. It is the site for transcription, formation of mRNA from DNA, and the mRNA is transported to the nuclear envelope. Cytoplasm. Definition of cytoplasm: this is a gel-like material that contains all the cell organelles, enclosed within the cell membrane. These organelles include mitochondria, ribosomes, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, intermediate filaments, microfilaments, microtubules, vesicles,